daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time!
All season long and even in the off-season, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme
All right,
the ball.
welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, and the Tesh Brothers, of course. Did I hear there's a new Tesh song?
Yes, there is.
We're talking about that later?
Later in the
I
show,
was told to not search it out because we're going to do a live review, a live music review of John Tesh's new Roundball Rock. Roundball Rock 2.0.
The shred edition, I've been told.
It's music. You don't need a new edition of it.
I haven't heard it yet, but I hope it has lyrics.
Yeah, I'm sure NBC's all, hey, go ahead and throw some lyrics down on this too. John Tesh and his brother Dave. Go check that out. That's right. Look, that's one of the best roles that Jason Sudeikis has ever played. Fake John Tesh, because he looks exactly freaking like him. Joining us on the program right now, he is Jake Scott. You can hear him every day, 10 to noon. He and Ben Anderson do a phenomenal job breaking down the Utah Jazz, and he's just one of our guys we go to. When it's Jazz talk, we listen to Jake Scott. Jake Scott on the program. What's going on, Jake?
You guys talking about the Entertainment Tonight guy?
Yeah, we are. Absolutely.
You talking about that, bozo? You know what? It's going to be like, hey, let us play some stuff off the new album. It's going to be garbage.
No.
Here, preview. It's going to suck.
Oh, no.
Come on, Jake.
You
You
always
can't
love
get
that.
a little sentimental when you hear that
You always
Roundball
love
Rock
that.
song.
I will say,
Yeah,
though.
I like the OG, man.
I
I
know.
don't need the new wave. I don't need our newest album. No thanks.
No.
Give me the old one. Don't ruin it.
It's like at the concert when that big-time artist gets up and says, I've been working on some stuff. I think we're going to play that for the next 30 minutes. You're like, what?
Who was it? Somebody was telling me about that. They went to a Billy Idol concert. First of all, going to a Billy Idol concert? Okay. And he's like, he's got some new stuff he's playing. I was like,
Nope.
Billy Idol
Nope.
has no new stuff.
Nope, not
you
interested.
should not have any of it. Speaking of music, by the way, I don't know if you know this, Jake, but you were the guy who got me onto Jimmy Buffett in the winter of 2004 when I was interning back in the day. I was like, what are we listening to? Cheeseburger in Paradise? What is this? And then I suddenly learned to love Jimmy Buffett, may he rest. And you know what? It was all because of Jake Scott. So Jake, there's you have that feather in your cap, buddy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I got to enjoy Jimmy while he was here. But no, it's a family thing. My old man loved it, and I followed right along. And it just feel good, right? I'm a feel good guy. I'm a positive frame of mind person, except for when it comes to my personal life, sports, and my work. So. I like to. It's the dream, right? It's the dream of sitting on the beach.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be in Zihuatanejo at some point. All right. Well, I do want to ask you first about Team USA and the meltdown that they almost had against Serbia. They were downside. Did you see the ending of that one? Because we were all wondering. We're watching it and we could barely show prep because we were just sweating bullets over Team USA. But they pull it out against Serbia and they figured it out. And now they're taking on France. Do you get excited about those, or are you just like, well, it's so much different basketball? Like, this French team, though, is the home country. They're dialed up. It's a bunch of guys we already know. This is what we want in the gold medal game, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of mixed emotion. I normally don't care about the basketball because the U.S. is so dominant and should be, and it's only a story when they suck. And I will admit, I have not seen the game yet. I am new to the Peacock app, and no, I am going to go back and watch it because I have that ability now. I did know it was close and know kind of the basic storylines, but really this year I've been forced to care because I made this bet of a chicken sandwich with Ben Anderson because he went into the tournament thinking there was he put it at 60-40 that the U.S. wins the gold, which was just so ludicrous. I mean, just so ludicrous and unbelievable that I had to call him out on it, and thus I now have a and so I have to care. And I guess the U.S. almost made me look bad today. God, that's a little scary. I'll disagree. France has absolutely cheated their way to the gold, to the gold medal. I don't know if you guys. They've had at least 2, maybe 3 games where the officials have out and out absolutely fixed it for them to win, and it'll be hilarious. I guarantee the gold medal game is the most tightly called game ever. Maybe 70, 80 foul shots coming. Mark my words, it's going to happen.
70 or 80 foul shots.
Jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
I hope not. Well, you're one win away.
Exaggerating.
You're one win away from that chicken sandwich, so I wish you well. Lauri Markkanen can now afford as many chicken sandwiches as he wants. Not that he didn't before, but massive news yesterday. The deal's done. Lauri Markkanen is under contract for the next 5 years with the Utah Jazz. Can't be traded next year. Just your overall thoughts on the deal and what it means for the Jazz moving forward.
Well, it means the Jazz are going to have a piece, and I mean piece like however you want, like a key player, like a key trade asset. They're going to have that under their control for the foreseeable future, which I think is ultimately the good thing if you're the Utah Jazz. I think it's interesting they'll have to make a delicate decision about where he fits in their developmental process along the way, which I think is an interesting discussion if you want to have it. But for now, you've got a guy that wants to be here, a guy that likes scoring 26 points a game, as horrible as that sounds. I mean, boy, that just is terrible, having the burden of taking all the shots on the floor. And, he's a guy who's youngish, so maybe if you rebuild on the quick, it could be a part of your plan, or at very least, if you think you need a little more time, you can use it as an opportunity to cash in and kick it down the road a little bit. So I think from the Jazz standpoint, it just makes all the sense in the world. And from Lauri's standpoint, it makes a lot of sense too. It's kind of the rare win-win. He wasn't always the number one guy, He wasn't always destined to be paid like this. Remember, Donovan Mitchell, he was destined to get the max deal, and that, of course, he's going to get the max, and it was just, when it was his turn. Lauri, that hasn't been his path in the NBA. He was the third or fourth choice or on, third or fourth on the totem pole in Cleveland. He was on his way to middle class in NBA land, and to cash in big, is a huge deal. So, I think guys get to different points in his career, and Lauri's at the point now where he takes the bag, and good for him. He honestly could retire today, wouldn't have to work another day in his life.
Now what? Because that domino fell, and that was all that everybody could talk about. And what's the next piece look like, or what do the next moves look like? How long do guys like John Collins or Jordan Clarkson or anybody else on this roster that I think Jazz fans have sort of gotten a little bit used to, especially Jordan Clarkson. What's the future of the guys that have been on the roster for a while? Is it just going to be, hey, Lauri Markkanen and a bunch of young guys going forward? How do they play this one out?
I would guess they're looking to take offers for the other veteran guys. How quick, we said, Jeremiah, you came on our show and we talked about this, how quick they would pull the trigger on that is I think a complicated thing. If you go through like 2 years ago when you start off the season shocking the world and all of a sudden having this great record because you've got these really try-hard guys that are, capable of winning in the NBA, that's not ideal, I don't think, for the position that they're in, to be middle of the road. And I don't know if those guys are good enough to do that. I know if you bench them and say, we're just going young, well, then they definitely don't have any value, So how do you – I would guess the sooner that you could move them, the better. But that would be a guess. But I think, those three, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and Colin Sexton, and their future with the roster is probably the next issue to be tackled. How much value do they have right now as opposed to in the future, and what do you got to do? I mean, I wouldn't pair any assets to move off those guys, right? I wouldn't, pair a first-rounder to move off of Jordan Clarkson. They're not in that position. But I don't know how much, do you hold out for a first-round pick for John Collins, or do you hold out for a first-round pick for Colin Sexton? I don't know. I don't know if that's advantageous. So I think that's a trickier one than what do you do with Lauri Markkanen, honestly. I think paying him was the no-brainer. This one I think is a little more ticklish.
Yeah, I agree with that. And until you know what they're doing with the other three veterans, it'll be tough to answer the question I have next for you. But does signing Lauri Markkanen get in the way of their goals of trying to get that best pick possible in one of the best drafts we've seen in quite some time, the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, and there's several other players in that draft that are really good as well. Do you think the Jazz can still be in play for that and have Lauri Markkanen playing his best on this roster?
I don't think so. It depends on how they play it. He's not going to play the full season. They could couch it in a variety of different ways. But, I compare it to Bradley Beal's situation in a way. Like, the Wizards were terrible forever, and he played, and they were still terrible. Basketball is still a team game. But I always come into these conversations a little bit like, you know what? You're playing for a 24% chance at the number one pick. All this losing is for an outside chance at what if, and just be careful falling into that trap. I just don't want to get obsessed with the losing for the bottom of the league. I don't think it's that wise of strategy for the amount of attention that it gets. If having Lauri Markkanen on your team accidentally wins you 5 more games, and so what? You got an all-star on your team who can bring you a variety of different things, even if it's trade value down the road. Even if it's so Lauri gets you 5 more wins. You slide down to the 5th best odds. You accidentally get the 5th pick, and then you use Lauri to trade up to number 1. Like as ridiculous as that sounds, like there's so many different ways to accomplish the goal of landing big players, and it doesn't mean it's easy. But I think sometimes we get too focused on the most obvious, which maybe it's just me, but that sometimes bugs me. So I get it, but I think it's also people get too obsessed. Like, what? You wanted Lauri to play into the last year of his contract and walk, and tick him off by sitting him so he walks, and then you get nothing? Like, is that, even if you had the worst record in the league, was that really worth it? I don't know. I think people get too obsessed with the tanking.
Yeah, and to your point, who won the lottery last year? A team that was in the play-in, right? Yeah, so you don't have to have the worst record. Detroit was the worst team, and they got the 5th pick. So, being sucking so bad that your fans can't stand going to games doesn't guarantee you anything. You're right.
Anything.
It's a great album name, Sucking So Bad.
Yeah. Shaq, and then they drafted Chris Webber the next year. They had the worst lottery odds, and they got the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
They had to adjust it just because of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, listen.
You never know.
It's one of those things like the guessing, which is why Adam Silver loves it, right? Because you don't want, if you're the commissioner of a league, you don't want teams to be incentivized to put yourself that far down. But at the same time, you do what ends up happening is you get 4 or 5 teams who are like, let's all be bad. We're going to be bad so we can be in the bad team running at least. And so then you end up getting a really, really bad, 4 or 5 teams there at the bottom. And that's where the Jazz are likely going to end up. But what is a best case scenario for how Lauri Markkanen's career, or I guess his this contract plays out? Are the Jazz in the playoffs by the almost getting toward those last couple of years of this contract that he just re-signed?
Well, they either are or he's on another team, and that's the delicate thing. I mean, if they're not in the playoffs in the last year of his deal and he's still on the team, that's a fail. I was never in the group of folks that thought it was a good idea that Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap both left the Jazz for nothing to give Ty Corbin some sort of last bite at the apple. I mean, that just didn't seem like the right thing to do. So I would say if he's still on the team, that means they were able to hit on a few of these young players and found a way to add a veteran or two and are right back to kind of pushing for the playoffs. So it's going to be that balance of actually making up your mind if he fits into the rebuild. Imagine they do draft a Boozer or Flag or something, some young phenom that's still going to take 2 years to develop, and now you're 3 years into Lauri's contract. How does it work? But they have the luxury now of time, which is a great thing, because basketball, you never know.
I want to get some college football takes from you real quick. BYU and their quarterback situation, we're all watching it. I'd love to get your take on it. Should fans be concerned that there's no separation almost 2 weeks in?
Well, I think fans should be concerned that there's not a proven dude. I know there are people with experience, but certainly some far from proven, like the old, if you've got two quarterbacks, you really don't have any. That's kind of the fear, right? But I also think that coaches are fundamentally dishonest this time of year. And I think even if they had an idea, I don't think they're telling any of us. So,
Well, the idea is also that they
separation, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah. There's some separation, but I don't feel comfortable commenting publicly on it. It's like, okay, because because Southern Utah, or who is it that they play first? They play Southern Utah, right?
Utah does, yeah.
No, BYU Southern Illinois. I was thinking of Kyle Whittingham's Kyle Whittingham's point of, I don't feel comfortable commenting publicly on it. I don't want the Thunderbirds to get any kind of edge on us in that first week. I mean, my heavens, we're trying to give ourselves a shot here against Southern Utah. Same thing with BYU. I mean, the reality is, I think, Witt's in a way better spot because they have a legacy quarterback on the other side. You have BYU, who's like, no, they really might have a hard time, not in that first game necessarily, but if they're not figuring it out, the quote-unquote separation. And I don't even know what that means these days. Like, there's been some separation. It's like, yeah, but just tell me if somebody's way better, and that's the guy you put in. I guess fans this time of year, there's a lot of up in the air, and fans get pissy about where their team is, and the guessing about by the way, in a month and a half, all of these discussions will be moot, and we'll have moved on, and we'll actually kind of know exactly where these teams are, and it's crazy to think how quickly, and we've all been in the middle of this, where you go, oh my goodness, we were waiting for football season to start, and now we're in week 8. It suddenly is right there. So it's a crazy one. It's a fun time of year for us, and on top of the college football, on top of the Jazz, on top of all the stuff we already do, throw hockey into the mix, and that's where we're all living in this sports world. So, Jake, we love having you on the program, man, and thanks for being on, and thanks for being honest with us as usual.
Oh, I do my best. Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Scott. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. What the heck's going on with our daggum Peacock TV in here? If I can't watch tertiary level Olympic events, then I'm pissed.
It's 12:30 a.m. in Paris. There's nothing going on.
Bro. I told you. I think that's what it was. I bet the internet's not working. And guess what the top of the TV just said? Oh, cool. You guys have it all figured out in there? Good for you guys. What are you watching? Water polo.
Got some volleyball, Brazil, USA.
I know. That's what I had going on, and then the TV kicked off. Boy, you know what this is? It's the guy upstairs. It's the guy upstairs turning off our TV because I went up and got a drink.
That's exactly what it is.
He's all, turn off their
The
internet.
fourth floor runs everything in this building.
Turn off the internet in that one room. All right, joining us on the program right now, he is our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com, one of the newest members of the KSL Sports team, and we've loved having him on. If you go click on his byline there on KSLSports.com, all the hockey fix you can handle. Cole Bagley on the program with us. Cole, what's up, man?
Not much. How are you guys?
Oh, we are trying to figure out the daggum internet in our...
Yeah, and Alex needs to take you up to the fourth floor.
Oh, yeah, listen, when you come in, I'll show you where the food's hidden. All right, so
Sure.
we'll sneak you upstairs. We'll get
And
you
the
some
dead
snacks.
bodies.
And the dead bodies on the fourth floor. This time of year, we're trying to learn as we go along here what the timelines are, the key dates for this hockey world that we've now found ourselves planted in. And I saw a couple days ago that the NHL had posted a projected lineup for this Utah Hockey Club. You saw the projected lineup. Did you agree or disagree with anything that was on the list, or did you look at it and go, yeah, it's about right? There's some big names on there.
Yeah, I think I mostly agreed with it. The only place that I started to question it, and I outlined this in the article, is when you get down to the fourth line, they're missing spicy tuna, and I don't know why that is. I mean, he just signed a 3-year extension with the club, and he's one of those guys you want on your team. He's not scoring a bunch of goals. He's not registering a bunch of assists, but he has a very good energy. He's not afraid of anybody. He'll drop the gloves with just about anybody. So if you guys are placing bets, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Liam O'Brien that's the first one to drop his gloves and fight with somebody here in Salt Lake. But that's the only place that I would have to disagree with it. But beyond that, I'd say it's a pretty good projection.
Can Josh Doan win a Rookie of the Year award on the third line? Is that going to hold him back at all?
Potentially. I don't know. Josh is very, very good, but there's a lot of guys in this draft coming in that I would expect, to be front runners. But who knows? I mean, hockey's a crazy sport. Injuries happen all the time, and but yeah, on that third line, I don't know that he's gonna see enough of the ice to really go for that Rookie of the Year trophy or not.
One of the things that we've been wondering about during all this and trying to learn about this team is that, they spend all this time in the offseason to build a roster. When it comes to, where injuries take their toll the most in hockey, like where do you see guys kind of being taken out of the lineup? What's the most affected, I guess, line? Or where do you see kind of injuries popping up in this sport where you don't necessarily think you're going to – I just never know. I see these other sports and I'm like, okay, we're kind of used to this, and this. But, in hockey, I'm not sure what the long-term health is of a lot of these guys. And when somebody's injured and they're like, yeah, and they're anticipating getting him back, within X, Y, and Z amount. But it seems like hockey players are a little bit tougher. So where does that play into kind of the overall look as to how the team is set up?
Yeah, I mean, it's at random. I don't know that there's one position necessarily that the guys are injured more often. I mean, if I was going to maybe pick one, it'd be goaltenders because those guys are stepping in front of, 100-mile-an-hour slap shots and pucks coming at them all the time. And so goaltenders, I would say, are probably injured a little bit more than the rest. But for the most part, it's totally random. But I would say, the more prevalent injury is probably concussions. And those are tough to come back from. A guy like Sidney Crosby, he didn't really have any major issues in his career until about the midway point. He suffered a couple concussions that really held him out for about a year and a half to 2 seasons. And so that's why these guys have AHL affiliates, why they have ECHL affiliates, is because occasionally, you get a lot of injuries that stack up. And, yeah, hockey players are tough, but there's things that you really can't play through. A concussion is dangerous. A lot of guys end up, messing up their knees. Just because of the physicality and, shoulders. A lot of guys will block shots and, they'll break bones and that's why a lot of guys are missing a few teeth. I still can't comprehend. I mean, I never played hockey without a cage. And I've got all my teeth, as you guys have seen. And so it's crazy what these guys put themselves through. But yeah, it's at random, but like I said, they've got multiple affiliates, so they can call guys up when they need them.
We have seen Cole's teeth; they're beautiful.
No need for veneers.
I always love that. I was like, yeah, so what? We saw some teeth. I've known hockey guys, and they're like, and they pop out those front two teeth and be like, haven't had these since I was 12. And it's like, man, it's bonkers.
We're excited about TJ Ginla. Fans are excited about him. He's got star potential. We'll have to wait for that to develop, but it's obviously there. You had a chance to catch up with Tej. Fans can go read that at KSLSports.com. What did you take away from your interview with Tej Ginla?
He's just hungry. He's hungry, and I think he's really excited about the future. This is a kid that we probably won't see for a season or two, and that's totally fine. That's normal. I mean, when guys are generally drafted in the NHL, unless they're the Connor Berdards, the Sidney Crosbys, the Connor McDavids, they don't hit the league right away. And so good chance it'll be a year or two before we see Tej officially suit up for the Utah Hockey Club. But he's very much focused on developing his game, continuing to get better. I was actually able to speak with his fellow draft mate, Cole Bagley, today, and Cole had a lot of really good things to say about him. Just that he's only a great person, but he's a spectacular player. And I don't know if you guys were able to watch the development game about a month ago, but I was there, and Tej is just someone that gets me really, really excited about the future of this franchise, because he seems to have it all. He's very creative. He sees the ice very well. He's got his head on a swivel at all times, and he's not hyper focused on anything. He's not a guy that's just looking to score goals. He's not a guy that's just looking to get assists. He does it all, and at the same time, he's very physical, which that checks all the boxes for a hockey player. So this kid is very good. He's a great interview. He was talking about. He's very excited to be in Utah. He wants to win a Stanley Cup with Utah, which hopefully gets the fans excited. And he's somebody that the front office is very, very excited about as well.
What's the comparison? I know you've brought it up before about how good the development leagues are in Canada specifically, and the AHL is just not really at that level yet. Or is that something that is just? I guess maybe explain the difference of like the OHL, the WHL, and the AHL for people who are listening out there, and how competitive those Canadian developmental leagues are versus even the ones that we have here.
Yeah, I mean those other leagues start at really young ages. They're a lot of them are junior hockey leagues, and you look at the roster, especially guys that are from Canada, and those guys have been playing professionally for a long time, and so I'd almost compare them more to like for soccer fans out there, kind of the European leagues, La Liga, the Premier League, Bundesliga. That's what I would more so compare those Canadian leagues to, and then I don't know if the AHL is quite like the MLS. I'd say it's definitely a step up from that. There's a lot of players that have come out of the AHL and played and had successful careers in the NHL, but that's probably about as close of a comparison as I could get. Maybe more along the lines of baseball. The Canadian leagues are more Double A, whereas AHL might be considered closer to it. I don't want to say it's quite the gap of a Triple A team, but that's probably about as close as I can get to making those comparisons.
Obviously, deep into the offseason here, it's kind of a quiet time in the NHL. What's the next thing that Utah Hockey Club fans can look forward to, something of interest that's coming up that should get their attention?
Yeah, so a month from now we should have the rookie camp, which is going to be a lot of fun. So Tej Ginla and Cole Bagley, those first round draft picks, they're going to be participating in the rookie camp, which is similar. It's kind of the next step from the development camp. So these guys are going to be working with young prospects, guys that were taken in the draft this year, AHL guys that are trying to make a roster. And part of that will be that they'll travel out to Los Angeles. They'll play a couple of other teams, the Vegas Golden Knights, San Jose Sharks, LA Kings. I want to say the Ducks are involved in that, but I'm not entirely sure. So that's the rookie camp. And then just a few weeks later, the official training camp for the Utah Hockey Club. So they'll get about 2 weeks, have a few exhibition games, and then it's right into the season.
Real quickly here, Cole, I was reading up about Andre Tourney, the head coach of the hockey club, and of course, he's a guy that he coaches Team Canada, so that by itself should kind of be the sort of the gold standard of how good of a coach that guy is. But in the league, where is he kind of in that hierarchy of really, really good coaches across this NHL?
Yeah, I'd say that him, along with the front office, are maybe not quite up at that gold standard. I'd say that gold standard is the Boston Bruins, is the Edmonton Oilers, the Florida Panthers. Teams that have really put together good squads and are winning a lot of hockey games. But I think a lot of why I'd put them in that good category is they hit the reset button about 4 years ago, and so they're committed. It's kind of like Will Hardy. The Jazz hit the reset a couple years ago, and they're not winning a lot of games. It's because they put themselves in that situation. And I think Will Hardy's a guy that's going to lead the Jazz, and the same thing here for the hockey club. I think we've got a really good coach, and they've got a really good front office. I'd put them in that good category, not quite up at that gold standard that those top teams are at, but it doesn't mean that they can't get there. They've done a lot of good things this offseason, proved to be a really good step in the building process, and I think they've got the right guys in charge, and that includes those that'll be calling the shots from the bench.
Cole Bagley, our Utah Hockey Club insider for KSLSports.com. You can go check it out right now. Go over to the Pro Sports tab and find the Utah Hockey Club, and you'll be able to get all of what Cole's already been working on. So many really good stories already. You can dive in on TJ Ginla. You can see, the write-up on Nick Schmaltz and Cole Baudouin, the newest, one of the new additions also to the team. Those are the top three right now that have just come out. Cole's getting to work. He and Steve Bartle, amazing additions to the team here just over the summer here. Cole for Utah Hockey Club, and then of course for the Utah Utes, Steve Bartle. So Cole, we appreciate it, man. We'll chat with you again as we get closer.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Where the heck can we get one of these black hockey sweaters, dude?
Not for sale yet, are they?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Take our money.
There's going to be a bigger line for that than there was for the draft.
Take our money.
Seriously.
We're ready.
I actually just purchased a draft hat.
Did you?
Yeah.
There's a
in a black T-shirt.
I told you there's a guy in our neighborhood who bought the Utah Hockey Club mailbox. And I'm like, it's like the old school mailbox just sitting like. I was like, dude, and I thought, oh well, they probably painted that themselves. I was like, no, that's it felt like, when we were over there across the street during the draft or when everybody's getting all excited, and they ran out of gear at the team store. Somebody walked out with a Utah Hockey Club bath mat.
Yep.
I feel like the same person probably walked out. They go, what do you got? I don't know. We got these mailboxes over here. Well,
how much?
$500. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Is that a bath mat? Absolutely. It's $1,000. All right. I'm a big fan.
I'm going to wear it like a cape.
I know. All right, we'll take a break here. We appreciate Cole joining us. We'll come back. We've got tons more on the program to go. Our show is always brought to you by the folks at G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. We'll come back and we'll jump in more around the corner, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wait a minute. Wait a gosh darn minute. What am I listening to right now?
Okay.
What is that?
Now, you guys told me to wait. You hadn't heard it either?
No.
Okay. So our plan was, Jeremy goes, hey, they got the new Roundball Rock going on. All right.
Did they hire Slash to do this?
That's what I was going to ask is, did John Tesh,
is this Kirk Hammett?
Has John Tesh gone through an electric guitar phase, or he was just like, I don't know, after the passing of Prince, I just wanted to get into it. Look, it's the same music, so we can be excited about that. Now wait yourself a gosh dang minute.
But where are the keys?
Hey, where's the? Let's hear the real one. Let's hear the. I say the real one because that one still seems fake to me. By the way, did you record it on a cell phone? Is that what happened?
I don't hear a guitar here.
Not only that, hold on, turn it up a little bit. You hear the distinct sound of the cowbell? That's also kind of a clarion call to me. Ponk,
Gene Frankel on cowbell, by the way.
Ponk, ponk. Yeah, there's not as much synth. I gotta have synth. You're exactly right, though.
It's just Slash riff.
Slash is going off on this thing, man. Could you imagine?
That's really the new one.
Could you imagine being the
and John Tesh
I know.
was involved in
He
that.
signed off on it.
Yes, he did.
It's his music, man.
Did they hold him hostage?
No, you know what they
and
did?
force him to sign the
They
NDA?
brought in, you know what they did? They brought him some session. They brought him some like session musicians, you know.
The shredded version for you to poop on.
Oh, here, see, that was a little bit higher quality. Wait, so that was John Tesh who said for you to poop on?
It's because he put on Lebatard show and they're weird. So.
Yeah.
So where are the lyrics?
Yeah, where did Dave Tesh? Did he get cut out
Wait
totally?
a minute.
Of this whole thing?
They did Dave Tesh wrong again?
If you watch their video, they dressed up as the two guys.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Oh, yeah, the bridge.
Seriously, where are the lyrics?
No one likes that part. The bridge of the song. This feels right.
That's better.
Oof.
I was about to show up at
I actually thought
John
that-
Tetch's house with tiny hammers.
I thought you were going to actually say, Jeremy, that this was the new version. And I would have said,
That would've
then,
been great.
then they got it right.
I could have fooled you.
Then they came back and got us the real version. All right, well, the shredded version, and we did poop on it, and I don't like it. Hold on, go to the front end of the real one again. So it goes. Listen to the riff. How it goes here. We're making Jeremy go through the pit. Ba-na-ba-ba. Okay, now listen. That part isn't in there. Go back to the new one now. I think ba-na-ba-ba. Ba-na-ba-ba. They took it out. That's stupid.
Can't do that with a guitar. That's why I said it needs some keys.
Gosh.
What?
Hey, Tesh.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Have you ever heard him how he came up with this song? By the way,
Yes.
when he does the whole like, I sent myself a message on my phone. Take a listen, and he has it. And he'll play it on the air, and it's like, hey, just a little idea for the NBC 2, 3, 4. It did not sound like somebody going off on the guitar. Something like that, John. I wish I had the confidence to leave myself a voice message in the future. All right. Well,
Life goals.
NBC got some work to do.
My first reaction, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Will it grow on me?
probably not.
Maybe.
No. No, they're not.
Can
They're
you see a
missing.
montage over this? Like some Michael Jordan, some Magic Johnson with the pass behind
You know
his
what
back.
it is? It's gonna be. Hold on. Picture it like this. It's gonna be like the Aha. No,
Dr.
play it.
J. Dunk.
Play it. You gotta play it. Here it is. It's gonna be like the Aha video. It's all like stenciled
like
in guys.
cartoony?
Yeah,
No.
kind of guys dunking.
No. You got to
Michael
mix
Jordan
in
sticking
the old,
the tongue out.
You mix in the old highlights, some little Bill Russell, little Wilt Chamberlain with some
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama.
But Wemby is also the Fox robot, right?
That could be true.
We bring that to the NBA now.
I'm
Make a
just
basketball
glad
robot.
that the NBA's back on NBC.
I know.
So if you want to put Slash in Roundball Rock, go right ahead.
Yeah,
as
we'll
long as we
complain
get
about it.
basketball back on NBC.
We will complain.
And
about
hopefully the Jazz are actually good by the time that happens.
it. Okay.